Earlier this week, I posted about my limited time art sales model. I got a lot of great questions, and so in this post, I'm going to tackle some of the questions that came up. If you missed that post, it was called "To Sell More Art, Stop Selling," and here's a super quick recap. Instead of making my art available all the time, I do weekend updates every month or so. That way I can batch all the tasks: making the art, photographing the art, listing the art, shipping the art. It makes me far more efficient and creates a favorable urgency and scarcity for my audience. Welcome to the Josie Show, where it's artist to artist chat, where I talk about how to make art and how to sell art. I happen to think that artists should get paid, and I want to support you and your genius creativity. Before I get into the questions, I wanted to mention that the limited time art sales model has actually been happening for artists for forever. Pre-internet model would have an established artist spending a year or two creating a body of work, which was then displayed in a gallery as a solo show and people could purchase. A very typical rhythm was a show every 2 years. Another way this works is with art or craft fairs or maybe open studios. Artists present their work, and then the event is just a couple days, so shoppers need to get in there and get their thing while they can. I don't think artists need to be open like 7-Eleven or a 24-hour grocery. It's just too much. We already have too many things that we're doing. I have seen many creators successfully use some version of this model. On to the questions. First, a really interesting comment. This is from Colby at This Writing Desk. If you don't follow her, you should check out her page. She's an amazing watercolor teacher. She's written some incredible books, and she is winning at social media. Her Pinterest game is on point. She says that she did not sell her work for years, even as she had a big social audience. But then she tried the limited collection strategy and increased sales by 700%. I like the sound of that. She adds that she finds it easier to only have to worry about shipping that one sales week. Amen. Natalie Jean wants to know some specifics. She wants to know how I actually shut my store down. So I'll get technical with you for a minute. I use Squarespace to host my website. I have a painting page that's always available, and I'll always keep art on it, but most of the time the work will be sold out. I have a banner that communicates my shop update rhythm. It currently says shop updates monthly and has an opt-in button in case people want to sign up to be notified. FYI, building an email list is key to this strategy, and I'll definitely be posting more about this in the future. I leave my favorite sold art up there so that people can get an idea of what types of things I offer and the pricing. When I'm ready to get the next launch ready, I create a private page where I can put the product listings and add my new painting. When all the details are ready, I'll mark them coming soon and move them over to the shop page after removing the old work. Then I can let people know that the preview is ready. I usually do this a day or two before launch. So that's the technical back end of what I do when I'm manipulating my website to get things ready for a launch. Cammie and Brenda both asked, what about the unsold pieces? A lot of people asked about this. Do you make them available at the next update? Great question. I heard it a lot. And yes, I keep the store stocked for the weekend. If there are still pieces available when I conclude on Sunday night, I pull them and drop them in an unpublished page for use in the next update. There are some paintings that just don't sell. I'll rotate them through for 4 to 6 months if I still personally like them, and then if they still don't sell, I chalk it up to super good information and move on. For me, people prefer brighter colors. I like taupe and gray and brown just as much as the next guy, but I have found that it's harder for me to sell that color palette. Somehow people associate me with rainbows. I'm not sure why. For someone else with a different audience, it might be the exact opposite. If you are a professional artist, it's important to remember you are in a relationship with your audience. You are offering something to them, and they will offer you very decisive information in the form of sales. After 4 to 6 months, I'll either retire the piece or repaint it or hold it for my studio clearance events that I do once a year or so, which is the only kind of sale I ever do, although I sometimes offer almost perfect art that got dropped or dinged or something in the studio. It gets kind of crazy around here. Color Sorceress mentioned her normal social posting and sales offer rhythm. She says that as she presents new work on social, it makes sense to also offer them for sale. I show my work, both old and new, all month long, but I do not find that saying DM me for purchase or it's available on my website drives much sales. This might just be me. Other artists might have a different experience. I don't know. When I get closer to an update though, I might start posting things like hop on my mailing list to get a preview. Did I mention that having a mailing list is one of my biggest CTAs? That's call to action. I could write a novel on my email list, and perhaps someday I will. Perhaps someday I will. Macrocosmics had a great observation. They say it probably helps my overall reach when I don't try to sell all the time because they notice that my IG reach drops on my selling posts. This is 100% true. On a shop update weekend, I will in fact make more social posts than the average, maybe up to 3 or 4 times a day versus the 1 a day that I usually do. And I do that because those posts drive immediate sales. It works. But those selling posts also get far fewer likes and engagement than my usual posts. I think that people just don't see the need to engage with what they view as an advertisement. I have personally found that the second I write anything salesy, people just don't engage. So I prefer to provide beautiful images and art attainment for 90% of the time. And then I mention sales and offers very seldom. I had quite a few people ask if this would work with prints and photography. Yes and yes. There is literally no art product that I could think of that wouldn't work with a limited availability. I don't think it would work as well if you weren't building a collection or a series to launch. I don't think this is a potluck. If you're just like, hey, here's all the random stuff I made this month, I think you might struggle. All right, there you have it. Some questions around the limited time shop update system that I use. I've been loving the questions and the conversations that are happening in the comments, so please keep bringing your good stuff and your questions. I will respond, especially if I see questions more than once. I will try to get to them in one of my chats with you. So pipe in, let me know what you're thinking. And as ever, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. It means a lot, and I appreciate you. Till next time. Okay. Josie, remember to hit record.